Welcome to the Well Actually podcast. I'm your host, Told You. Thank you for joining us. Please don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, share the podcast with whoever you can. The podcast is available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and videos are available on YouTube. We're joined by our music correspondent, joining us from parts unknown, Mr. Rapcat. Corey, welcome to the show.
Hey, what's up, Tuj? Long time. Glad to be
Yeah,
back.
so long time. Yeah. So I just want to dive right into this because it's pretty time sensitive, but
Yeah.
it's what these lists are designed to do. They are designed to spark conversation, and this
hmm
one really sparked a significant conversation. So Billboard, in in all their expertise, and they decided to grant us with the best 50 Afrobeat songs in history.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
those were their exact words. That's their wording, not ours. That's not our interpretation. The best 50 Afrobeat songs of all time.
So let me ask you
So
something.
go ahead.
So when they say best, because a lot of times whenever you have these conversations, we're talking about GOAT conversations, right? They say greatest. Is there a distinction between when someone says the best versus the greatest, the greatest Afrobeat songs of all time? Would you consider there to be a distinction?
I think it's a distinction without a difference. It's
Okay.
really like it's easy to discuss the greatness of a person rather
hmm
than a body of work if you're just saying best. Because the
hmm
thing about best, there is no, as far as I'm concerned, there is no objective metric that can determine best because is it based like they're like, well, according to their list at least, there are a bunch
Yes.
of metrics that were considered, and what
Yes.
when you decide what metric gets what kind of weight,
hmm
how do you go about it? Like, for instance, the
Yeah.
oldest song on this list is from 2003. The way charting was measured back then is different
Yeah.
from like the most recent song, which was from 2023. So that's 20
Yeah.
years. Like the way songs were received, the song way songs were consumed, completely
hmm
different landscape. So does it have to
Yeah.
do with charting? Does it have to do with international exposure? Does it have to do with like, I don't want to say like objective quality of the song, because a lot of this is still subjective in a way. Like there's some songs
Yes.
that you can agree are hits, but they're not necessarily your favorite songs.
Yes. But there's still you can still judge quality to some extent. Like I'll be honest with you, I listened to some songs from like 2000 or like maybe like the early 2000s, back in the early stages or like the late 90s, Afrobeat songs, and I listened to them, and even like put aside, obviously sound quality wasn't as great, right? But
Mhm.
even the production, the quality is not the same as what you get now. So you'd agree
Yeah.
with that, right?
Yeah. Oh no, no,
That
no.
as far as
That
quality, you can judge it to an extent, right?
yeah, you can judge quality of like, I would say in terms of like the
hmm
technical side of the music. I would
Yes,
say
yes.
I wouldn't necessarily say that means it's a better song.
No, you're right. You're right.
Yeah,
You're right. You're right. Because at
and
the end of the
one,
day, right? Mhm. So what
yeah, I
makes
was.
a great song is people sing along to it and people enjoy it. And if it's a
Uh,
song that, right? Like
I
the
mean, I
more
mean,
people gravitate towards a song, I think that in itself is the proof in the pudding, right? That is the social currency that you need to say that this is a good song, or don't you think? Because
I mean,
how you answer this question is going to determine how we take on this list. I
well,
just want to
then
make sure we're on the same page.
I wouldn't say that as an absolute, because if
Okay.
that's the case, then pop music is the greatest genre ever because it's literally designed to get mass appeal, to get people singing along, even if the words are nonsensical. It's like it's designed because it's like it's almost dumbed down so that everyone can parrot the words, even if the words
What
themselves
for?
don't have
Wait,
pop
for
music.
what?
I'm talking about pop
Pop
music.
music. Okay.
Yes. So
Okay.
if the aim of music, or the aim or your definition of greatness comes with, as long as it can have the most, like the greatest mass appeal or have more people singing along,
I
then
see what you mean.
yeah. So I don't necessarily, I mean, great songs might have that, but I don't think
Yes.
like that should be the
Yeah,
like if it has
the
it, then it's
determining
this.
factor. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, you're right. So it's not the determining factor, but it is a factor.
Oh,
You'd
absolutely,
agree, right?
absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah,
all
well,
right.
yeah,
So we're on the same
and
page.
yeah, then we're not doing all the B cuts,
Yeah.
the hipster picks of songs. No, we're not. They're not. You're not getting those ones. No, no, we're here
Yeah.
for hits. All right,
Okay.
so let me go through some of the because some people might have seen the list and were wondering why
Hmm.
certain songs didn't make it.
Yeah.
And again, this is not our list. Let me make that very clear. This is not a combination list between myself and Corey, even though I had thought about that for a while. Actually,
Yeah.
I was actually thinking about doing like a top 25 of the last 25 years, but
Yeah.
a Billboard beat us to it. So I'm sure we will be able to come along with something else eventually.
So let me
But,
ask you something.
mhm.
Did Billboard explain how they curated this list? Did they break that down anywhere?
To an extent. So they
Okay.
had
They
one,
say.
two, three, four. They had five writers. So it was kind of how like MTV used to do like their greatest MC list,
Yeah.
and like they would have a room of writers come together and argue over certain things. I don't know if Billboard went that far, but
Hmm.
it was based on like their staff, and thankfully there are more African names than not on the list. So there are four
Okay.
obviously African names, one very
Yeah.
Yoruba looking name. So uh,
Hmm.
maybe that lends some credibility to it.
Hmm.
So their I guess their criteria for the list is like international exposure. What? So I want to make sure I give them their credit in terms of what actually went into it. So it was stylistic representation of the genre, local
Okay.
popularity, regional
Yes.
expansion, cultural impact,
Okay.
and commercial success.
Okay. Okay. I mean, those are definitely factors. I'm trying to think
Mhm.
if maybe there's another criteria that they could have potentially added.
Okay, so let me
No,
give you
I
so
think that's a
that
good,
that like
it's a good
in
metric.
theory, yeah, in theory, those metrics line up with what you'd want from a list.
Yeah.
And then they said the group of journalists themselves had a diverse geographical makeup ranging from the U.S. to the UK to Nigeria.
Okay. And these are
So
journalists, not necessarily musicians, right?
no, but they're music
Or like,
journalists. They're
oh, they're
journalists who
music
cover
journalists.
music.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So uh, we
Was
I
was Joey Akan there? Just out of curiosity.
no, no, he
I'm
was not.
curious.
No,
Okay. Yeah.
I don't think he's a Billboard staff writer, at least not
Okay.
yet. Shout out to Joey. He does good work pushing Afrobeats forward.
He does. He does.
Yeah, but
He does,
I
and
I
he's taking the mantle for a
yeah,
while
and
now.
yeah, I mean there was a void that was there, and he decided that he's going to. I mean that's how most of these voids are filled. Like it's just sheer determination
Yeah.
and sometimes just making yourself the subject matter expert.
Yep.
Okay, all right. So obviously we can't go through all 50,
Yeah.
but uh to anyone like I'll have the 50 names in the description in case you want to follow along and are trying to figure out why we are so
Yeah.
incensed about certain names. But
Yeah.
the first thing that stuck out to me was the selection criteria in terms of why certain songs didn't make it or why certain songs that I was expecting to see didn't make it. And the first thing was they limited the number of entries per artist to three. So no
Okay.
artist could have more than three songs on the chart.
Okay. They're
And
trying to spread the love around a little bit.
yeah, they were trying to spread the love, and I was like, oh, okay. I mean, I guess I could see why you went that route, but it's like there was a
But
lot
that,
of
but that,
quality
but that
left
also,
off.
but that also skews the list too. Because
How do you mean?
if there's one artist that has 5 songs with high cultural impact and like hits all those metrics, then you're skewing the list by removing those 2 songs out of just the technicality that they have too many songs. You see what I'm saying? If there's an artist that legitimately has 5 great songs that could have made the list, then we're just taking off those 2 songs just because three is a max. But again, I'm not. I'm not here to gripe about the little things. I get why they did it. They want to spread the love around, so that's fine.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and there's like there's you know what? Let's just get into the list.
Okay.
I want to go through, for instance, like so. I'll, since you're the guest, I'll ask you,
Yeah.
what was your biggest surprise on the list?
My biggest surprise was the number 10 song. Because the top 10 songs, though, those are like the main ones that people really make sure, okay, did we get it right? So
Mhm.
I'm not going to, because you're not going to argue about between 20 and 19 or 20 something. And like, people want to know that what are the top 10 that they said was the top 10. And I honestly don't have too many gripes with it. When I first saw it, I was like, okay, I can see how this could have entered the conversation. Um, the one, the only song that I saw that could potentially maybe not have made the top 10 in my list was the last one, "Chop My Money" remix,
And that's P Square with Akon.
the P Square, yeah,
Uh-huh.
P Square with Akon. In fact, I thought there was another Square song that obviously I wouldn't necessarily have put it on the top 10, but I felt like could have made a stronger case to be on the top 10, and that
And
was
what Busybody?
the so not Busybody. There was another hit that they had. It's escaping me right
Is
now.
it Personally? Personally.
Personally, yes,
It's on the list, but it's not. It's number 34.
yeah. I thought you could have made a bigger case versus Chop My Money. I remember Chop My Money was popular, but Personally was a huge record. That was like the record that people were making comparisons to Michael Jackson, like as far as what they brought to the table, their dancing. Yeah, like that was a very, very huge song. So I think that was the only one that I was like, okay, that's surprising. But again, I'm not, I can see how some people Chop My Money had this such a cultural. I think it was more so people they were probably looking at us like these Africans. What are they talking about? They're this African men telling you to chop my money. But that was something that resonated. Like if you talk to like African American women or like just women outside of the culture, for instance, these are the ways that Nigerian men talk. So it was very emblematic of how Nigerian men approach women, where we just throw money at them. Nigerian men are the people that they'll go up to women and the same day they'll be like, "Ah, I need to marry you. Ah, chop
Mm.
my money or finish my money." So I understood why that song resonated so much, even with non-Nigerians. Like it had like a bit. It was a hit here in the United States. Like I remember African Americans singing to it, like "Chop My Money," because they knew that this is how Nigerians are. But again, I didn't necessarily think it was enough to make it on the top. And that's just me. That's just me. I'm sure some other people can make arguments for it. Um, but I think that was the only one that I was like, I don't know about that. Um, Oliver Twist was another one that I think you can make a case for or not for. Oliver Twist, the reason why was Oliver Twist was the first song that came from the Maven crew that really hit the globe in a major way. I don't know if you remember this, but it was such a huge record. It was huge in the UK, and then it crossed over to the US. And when I say crossover, I don't mean crossover like in today's date where you see buds on the songs on the Billboard. It crossed over in the sense that there were American artists that took notice, and I remember it was Oliver Twist that made the likes of Ye. I'm sure there were other songs, but I remember it was right after Oliver Twist that Ye decided to link up with the whole Maven crew. So I get the significance of it. After Oliver Twist was when Ye pulled in um Dibanj, he tried to sign Don Jazzy to a record deal. Obviously, I think they tweaked that deal a little bit, but he tried to like have him be one of his producers, like take take credit for some of his productions. But that was the first time that they invited us to the table. So again, I get why that had such an impact because it was all of a sudden they had eyes on us. And then shortly after, he released, I think he released a record with, or around that time, or maybe before that time, he had released a record with Snoop Dogg. So I get it. But would you say Oliver Twist is the greatest D'banj record? Like
Now
the greatest song that
that
came
takes us
from
back to
D'banj?
so that takes us back
The
to
answer is no.
the
And that's
yeah,
why
it
it's
takes us
like,
it take because it's the weight of international success is
mhm,
pulling this, like it's Billboard is an American publication.
yes.
A Nigerian publication will not have Oliver Twist as the representation of the
No.
bunch.
No, they would have Fall in Love before Oliver Twist.
Yeah.
They would have Fall in Love.
So
They would have
or even
at least
suddenly.
two other songs. Yes, they
Yeah.
would have at least
So
two other songs before Fall in Love. So again, that's where you start to see some of the metrics that are skewing this. But again, I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad. Look, you can never make a list perfect. There will always be people that have issues with it. But I just feel
all
like
right.
some of the metrics, you're right, some of the metrics, the international flavor is skewing it a little bit.
All right.
Mm.
So let me
So
run
yeah,
through the top 10 real quick. Let me run through the top 10. So number 10, P Square Chop My Money remix. Number 9, Burna Boy
yeah,
Ye. Number 8, Davido
deserved,
Fall.
deserved,
Number 7, The Band Oliver Twist. Number 6, CK Love Wantinti. Number 5,
deserved.
Wizkid featuring Thames Essence. Number
Mhm.
4, Rema Calm Down. Number 3, Flavor Wa Baby Asho remix. Number 2, Wizkid Ojuelegba. And number 1, Two Face African Queen.
Yeah, the rest I can't. Now, I may not necessarily agree with the order, and I haven't really thought of what order I would put them in. It's really that's where it gets very. It's like it comes down to like which one you have more of like an emotional connection to. I
Mm.
know Ojuelegba. I For me, I would probably put that at one, but other people may not agree.
Really?
Yeah,
You would go that
Ojuelegba was one of the songs that made me realize that oh shit, we can do this thing in an authentic way without trying to front, and people outside of the Nigerian community can bump to this. Ojuelegba, he's speaking Yoruba. Ni Ojuelegba, oh, and obviously he's mixing it with pidgin, but it's the average non-Nigerian, they can listen to African Queen and they know what he's saying. They can hear what he's saying. You know, Joe Legba, there's a lot of parts of it that they don't necessarily know what he's saying. They got moved by the song. You
yeah,
Joe
but there's
Legba,
also the
oh,
fact
that's
that
in my
African
story.
Queen predates Ojuelegba by 10 years.
It does. It does.
Yeah.
Again, this is why I said that me personally, Ojuelegba, and I think I was also much younger when African Queen came out. Obviously, we all loved it. It was all over. That's all we heard at weddings and all these places. But just to my own music ears and to my own sentimentalities, Ojuelegba hit me in a different way.
So let me
I
ask you this.
remember that whole moment. Ojuelegba, then he had the album cover of Ayo, and he just looked like a boss. Like it doesn't get any more authentic than that. He was dressed in like there was a village hut behind him, and he looked like a boss. And he was wearing the agbada. I'm not sure it was agbada, but it was just like I make no apologies for who I am, and that was the first time that I saw that um done in such a declarative way. So that
All
for
right.
me, but I
Yeah.
can see how people can put African Queen first because it launched a lot of what we see in the US, where it launched the whole diaspora. African Queen was when the diaspora really started getting plugged. And when I say diaspora, I mean the African diaspora. That was when we started getting plugged in. That was when we started having these artists really start coming to the United States. Those are like one of the very first concerts that Two Face came to Maryland. And that was the new thing. And it wasn't concerts like the burner concerts now, but that was new. Prior to that, we weren't necessarily flying them over here. Now, it doesn't mean other African artists hadn't been flown in, but they were flown in. Like Fela, he did concert here. This was the first time that the diaspora itself, we started building a network, like party promoters. They started suddenly figuring out, okay, there's the demand for these artists, and they started slowly make. And then I think Baba was one of the first, and then obviously Dibanj came, and there were some other characters there. But that I get how someone can put African Queen first, but me personally, I would have put Ojuelegba. That's just me,
So, all
and that
right.
was because of how it hit me.
So I'm gonna ask you a couple things. So one about Ojuelegba and then one about African Queen.
Hmm.
So do you feel like the Skepta Drake remix portion of things propped up Ojuelegba to an extent? Because that's where, to for all intents and purposes, like that's where a lot of there's a through line from that
Yes,
moment to
to everything that has
the
happened to date,
yeah,
till date.
from that moment, yeah, especially
Mhm.
with Drake and his relationship
Yes,
with Wizkid.
yes.
Do you think that props up Ojuelegba? And I don't say prop up in a negative way. I mean, like, do you think that that's weighing, like giving it that
It's not
extra
weighing it for me.
oh,
No,
it's not
that's
weighing
not
it for
what's
you?
weighing it for me.
Okay.
I know what happened. Without Ojuelegba, we wouldn't have Drake's first number one record. By the way, his first number
Yes,
one record, we wouldn't
absolutely.
have
One
that.
Dance, yeah, One Dance is
I'm not
first.
even thinking of that.
Mhm.
I try not to think in that way. I try not to necessarily think, oh, what do the Americans think about this, or what do the non-Nigerians. I I try to really just digest the song and enjoy it for what it is. And that
Okay.
was how Ojuelegba hit me. When I heard the song, I was the first time I just put it on a loop. It just felt like I'm not even from Lagos, and I felt like it was talking about my home. It resonated with me. Everything that he was saying on that record, it was, and the melody, everything. So for me, this is a personal thing. It has nothing to do with Drake. There's no skew. This is just again, and we're talking about from two to one. We're talking about just
Yeah, yeah.
switching. So no, it had nothing to do with that. But yes, it also ushered in a lot of what we see today. And like you said, without Ojuelegba, we wouldn't have um One Dance. Without One Dance, there wouldn't be so many other. I mean, One Dance was what made people start looking at African artists and made these record companies to start looking. I feel like it was part of it. Start looking. Okay, we need to start signing these people. That was the big thing. That was huge. So but yeah, no,
So is
it's
it
not
fair to
a.
say that to you Ojuelegba is Wizkid's best song?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
is for me. Yeah, it's his
Uh-huh.
greatest record. For me,
Okay.
it's his greatest record. Can you think
Okay.
of another record? Essence, maybe.
From Wiz,
Yeah,
I I was certain that Essence would get like top three treatment,
yeah,
but the four ahead of it, I
hmm,
can I'm comfortable with Essence not being above them when you go through them.
yeah.
Like
And
for instance, Calm Down
I
by
feel like
Rema.
Essence. Yeah,
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 Calm Down by Rema hit number three on the Hot 100.
yeah. That was a huge record. No, I mean that was just a huge record. That was just.
I
But
mean,
I think the reason why I don't see Essence, I don't see Essence, even though technically it is, I don't see it as a Wiz song. I see it as a Wiz and Tem song. I felt like that song, one could argue Thames even got more out of that song than Wiz
oh,
did.
I no. Yeah, well, you
Yeah.
also have to consider where the
So
starting
it
point
almost,
was.
yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, where both of their starting points were at time of release.
Yeah.
Thames wasn't necessarily a household name before that.
No.
Wiz already
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yes.
it
And
absolutely did more for her.
it put,
Yeah,
yeah. So that's why I don't necessarily, so I can see how some people can still argue that maybe it's his number one record, but I don't necessarily see that as like Wiz. I see that as Wiz and Thames. They both
yeah,
did their thing on that record, but Thames hook was what got a lot of people to really love that record. I mean, it was a great vocal performance. Her hook just, so Yeah, so I think Ojuelegba is his greatest record ever. Me
Okay.
personally,
All right. So if that's your only, like you
yes.
said, I think you said
I would switch
that's
African Queen to two and Ojuelegba to one. That's me.
okay. All right.
I
So
would
then
also
I guess I'm
push up. I would
which one?
also push up Mwa Baby. I wouldn't put it at three. It's definitely top 10. It's
No, it's
definitely
at
top 10.
three. More babies at three.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's what I'm saying. It's definitely top 10, but I wouldn't necessarily put it at three. Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily put it at me
Really?
personally. I wouldn't necessarily. No, I wouldn't necessarily put it at three. I felt like they were playing my boy Davido on this one. I felt like he should have been a little higher.
Because but remember, locally, there aren't many songs harder than that. If
I
when I say
know.
locally, I mean songs that are played like for larger crowds, whether it's a party, festival, whatever. There
Yeah,
aren't. I I can't. You can't go four deep before getting to that song.
yeah. I think the reason why I'm not Nwa Baby Ashawo remix, right? I feel like
Hmm.
that record was. It's like one of those songs where if the DJ is completely out of his depth, right? And he's just trying to, and let's say he's playing to a Nigerian crowd, and he's just trying to just get something. Wow, baby is one of those things that we will do it to you because it's such a like. But even the topic of what they're talking about, it's such like a risque topic. Talking about an ashawo and dancing and all that stuff. So I get it. There's something really edgy about the song. Um, and yes, it has graced many dance, um, many many parties, many parties. Um, I just don't necessarily think like I'm not in my car and I'm thinking, "Ah, man, it's been a while since I listened to Wow Baby," and I'm playing it on my in my car. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I'm not necessarily doing that.
but isn't music meant to be
It
communal as well? Like the
it,
communal
it
elements of
is.
music.
It is.
Uh-huh.
It is. It's meant to be communal, but it's also meant it it's also it's also meant to be like therapeutic. Is music you should be able to enjoy it also without necessarily having people around. And I'm not necessarily sure I'm like in my car and I'm like, ah man, it's been a while since like I need to just play that Wow Baby. I don't necessarily get it. For me, it's more of like we're at a party and we're trying to just get loose. We're trying to and so it has its purpose there. And that's a very powerful thing too. But it's not necessarily how I judge how great a song is. Um so if I can't if I'm not like sitting in my room or in my car and I'm scrolling through playlists and I see it and I'm like, oh, for me, it's not necessarily that. But there are other songs on this list. Like I would do that with Ojuelegba every now and then. If I haven't listened to it in a while and I see Ojuelegba, I'm like, let me just play this. I would do that even with African Queen. Like I would still do that with that. I'm not necessarily doing that with Moa Baby. With Moa Baby, it's when I'm at a party and I'm lit and that's when I'm like, correct. So that's why I wouldn't have it that high up.
No,
I felt
I
like fall should have maybe not three, but definitely should have it should have done better than eight. I felt
okay.
like they were
So
trying to play my boy Davido
okay,
with
so
fall.
I'm happy you actually I'm happy you brought that song up because I was gonna, especially being in the Northeast,
Yeah.
fall. Do you think
Mhm.
it should have been fall or if?
Ooh, that's another record. But no, I think it should have been fall.
Do you
I
think
think
it
it
should
should
have
have
been
been
fall,
fall.
fall over
I
if?
think it should have been fall. I think it should. Yeah, I think it should have been fall. Banana fall on you. No 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 no. Come on. Nah,
Okay.
if it was a great record too, but it was they came out around the same time, so you have to pick
Yeah, they
one.
did.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Yeah, it came out around the same time, and Fall
It-
is still getting plays. I felt like
okay.
Fall had much more staying power.
So that
If
was back in the time
there's
when
some
Davido used to release three songs at a time. So it was If, Fall, and
yes,
Fire.
yeah, I'm fire, yes,
Okay.
and all
And
records are bangers, all three. All three, all
Yeah,
three. It's crazy, right? Yeah, I feel like Fall should have could have been higher because I think it was first of all I think it was a really good it was a really great record. It was a great record. It was one of those records where you know how we always in Afrobeats they always did this thing where they would take little elements of pop songs from outside of our culture, songs that we grew up listening to, and they'll take elements of it. It was the first time that I'd seen Davido do it to such perfection. Like he nailed it because you know the whole I don't want to be a player no more. You know these are things that resonate with us. We know what where that came from, and he did it with that. And then there was another song that he also pulled from. I'm trying to remember what line. Um, I know that I don't want to be a player no more. For sure that he pulled that from a known record. So it obviously resonated with American listening ears, and even like all over the world, people that love those records. So it was the first time that I'd seen someone do it to such perfection, to the point that everyone was everyone effed with the song. The DJ started playing it. DJs, non-Nigerian DJs started spinning it. It became part of that rotation. Remember that Joanna? It was
yeah,
Joanna Fall. Then they'll give you if it
yeah,
was a DJ that knew what he was doing, he'll give you if. They always have like they call it a set. They always have the Afrobeat set, and Fall was always number one on that Afrobeat set. That and Joanna. So I felt like that made a huge impact, and I think it was also a really good song. It was just a very catchy song.
So
It was just a
I'll get back.
really catchy song.
I'll get back to the Davido conversation, but you brought up someone else who's on the list, and that's that Afrobeat song,
Hmm.
Joanna, at
Hmm.
24. Is
It
that
could probably do better. It could probably do. I think maybe there's some bias there, because technically the person is not um Nigerian. Person is actually British, but I think they hail from Ghana, right?
no Afro? I think it's
Fuse
Afrobeat. Isn't he
Afrobeat.
Ivorian?
Oh, he's Ivorian. I always
I
assumed he
believe
was.
so.
I always assumed he was Ghanaian. Okay, so that makes sense. Yeah, I think that's just a little bit of bias. I think it
Yeah,
could probably,
British Ivorian. Yeah.
yeah, I think it could probably do better than that. But I think that's only in terms of impact, right? In terms of cultural impact and international recognition. But as a record itself, I don't know. Maybe 24 really is around where it needs to be. Maybe. I don't know. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. Um, I can see how an Ivorian would see that and feel like, come on, you're trying to play our boy, or I can see how they would say that. Um, but it's just not one of those records that I'm necessarily like trying to bump to right now. So it'll be hard for me to justify putting it in the top 10. But
Well,
maybe it
is
could
it
it could have
about
had.
bumping to right now though? Like, it's of
Yeah,
all time.
if a song is great, I need to be able to play it and not feel dated. Like I need to be able to play it and feel like, okay, this is something that I can. Let's say my kids get older, I can play for. I feel like it's a song that I can play for them and they would still enjoy it.
Oh no, but
Meaning the
that's an
quality.
assumption on your part. That
I mean, it's an assumption on my part,
you're assuming your kids'
and
taste.
they probably wouldn't even have the same taste
Yeah,
as me. Who
that's
knows?
exactly.
Who knows? But I guess the point I'm trying to make is that the top 10 songs, I feel like I should be able to play them now and still enjoy them.
But there's a Nigerian bias there,
And that's why I said there is a little bit of a Nigerian bias.
and
But
not just
I'll be honest
Nigerian,
with
but
you,
he's not Nigerian and he's British, so it's like the sound is
double
like,
exactly.
yeah.
And plus, I really actually got sick of that song. I got sick of it. I
But
started to hate
but
it at
it
some points.
but that shows you like how often it was on the radio. Like
It was. But like you
it
said,
can't be a
commercial
knock against him
success.
there too. Yeah.
Yes, but commercial success is it's something like saying Macarena right now. If they're compiling the list of top 20 greatest records ever, period. And someone brings in Macarena or Gangnam Style. Yes, it was a huge record, and it's probably one of some of the most played records. But that's not the record that you're necessarily trying to say, "Oh, I want to keep this record in a capsule, so that if something happens and the world gets wiped out, they will still be able to discover this song, and
I feel like
they'll be
you
able
could
to
tell
make magic from it." You know what I'm
you'll be able
saying?
to you could tell a
Joanna
lot
is
about what's
not
going
one
on in
of
the
those
world
songs.
when Gangnam Style came out. You could tell a lot.
Yeah, of
Like
course,
you
of
could
course.
tell what was
No,
going on.
but you get what I'm saying with Gangnam Style. It's not that the records aren't great. It's just that it's not necessarily. I'm not looking at them like, oh, this is like some of our most cherished records. It was just a song that went super pop, and that's how I see Drogba. It was just a very catchy song, but I'm not necessarily. It's not. It's not. Is I'm not when I'm thinking of putting our best foot forward. I'm not necessarily bringing Joanna. I know that sounds wrong, but that's
Uh,
just how I
well,
feel.
well,
That's how I feel.
I'm glad that's how you feel because it's leading me to the next song I want to talk about. And
Yeah.
this to me, maybe not necessarily this song, but at
Hmm.
least this artist, honestly, if we're being very like if we're being honest with ourselves, if we're
Hmm.
being objective, this
Yeah.
artist, when we're talking about impact on where it took Afrobeats, not Afrobeats with
Hmm.
an S
Yeah.
music, this artist has single-handedly done more than I want to say most of the artists on this list, and that is Fuse ODG. So when you
Okay.
consider Azonto, which is number 18 here, which I feel is criminally
Hmm.
low, and Antana is not on the list at all.
Hmm. Azonto, though, do you really think when you say he's done more, can you break
It's
that down? What do you mean?
so whether it's about being poppy, whether it's about being catchy, whether it's
Yeah.
about encapsulating an entire subgenre of like there was Azonto music for a reason. Like Wizkid even brought it into his own
Yeah.
beat of life. Like saying like Azonto, like this was not necessarily the best song, but it was sort of like the forerunner, like the greatest not greatest representation, but the most popular representation of
Yes.
like. Remember, there was a time where every song had a dance attached to it. Like that was part
Yes.
of what got Afrobeats out, like
Yes.
moved it out of like off of the continent outwards because
Yes.
you got to export something that came along with it. Like it
Yeah.
lowered the
But
barrier
but
for
then
entry.
doesn't that kind of make it gimmicky too?
No, like there's a reason why people dance to music in the first place.
I know, but
Yeah,
it's not
like
different from
I
Gangnam Style. I could also do the back then because Gangnam Style had came with the dance, and in the
yes, and
same
so and,
way,
and so did
Macarena,
Thriller, and so did Thriller.
Macarena, but Thriller was a quality song.
Again,
Thriller was a good record,
quality.
production wise.
Mhm.
The
Yes,
lyrics,
yes, we know.
it's a
We're not
great
going to
record.
we're not going to compare Quincy Jones's
It's a great
production choice,
record.
but it
Yeah,
came along with a
but
dance. Like
yeah,
so
but
some people know the Thriller dance even more than like you can't
it
penalize
did.
something for having a dance associated with it.
I'm not penalizing it for having a
Hmm.
dance, but in addition to having a dance, is the quality of the song, the
Hmm.
quality of the writing, the effort that was put in it. Does that represent a great song? I don't necessarily see that with Azonto. Whereas with Thriller, yes, it came with the dance,
Oh wait,
but it's also
so
actually it's
let's
actually
not.
a really great record.
Yes,
It's
see,
actually a really, really quality record. The
um,
writing on it is crisp.
yes,
The singing on it is
we're not
out of
comparing the
this
quality.
world.
We're not comparing the quality of the songs
Yeah.
because you said the fact that it had a dance attached to it makes it a gimmick or makes it gimmicky. And I'm
Yes.
saying, and I'm saying a lot of Michael Jackson's songs had dances attached
Gimmicks.
to them.
Yeah. Yeah, but what I'm saying is that if a
And I'm
song
saying
is
that
more
doesn't make it
gimmick,
a gimmick.
yeah, but if a song has, but there's some songs that have more of the gimmicky element, which is why I brought up Gangnam Style, which is why I
Mhm.
brought up Macarena. It was more the dance. It was more about the dance than it was about the song. The same
Yeah,
thing with Azonto.
because you didn't understand the lyrics. If you could speak Spanish, you would know that Macarena was about a woman dating multiple people and they were talking about her. Like if you could speak
Okay,
Spanish, you would understand what was going on. Gangnam
yeah,
Style,
but
like
it didn't
you don't
necessarily.
You don't
Yeah,
speak
but
Korean.
no, but what I'm saying is that no, but the lyrics of those songs they're very very simplistic. They're not necessarily. It's not like bridge, verse, chorus. These are like most of the song is just chorus essentially. Like the majority of the song is just the hook. It's made to be catchy, and that was what Azonto was. It wasn't necessarily. It was just a song. It was a dance song.
Well,
And
okay,
because it's
what
a
about?
dance song doesn't necessarily make the quality of the song itself
But
great. And
if we
that's what I'm
go through,
saying. There's some
if we
songs that
go
are
through
more
this entire
gimmicky.
list, we could find
Yeah.
like majority of them fall under that, like fall in that category of
Tell
being
me.
catchy because that's how they get popular. Skills,
Tell me
shake
another
body,
one. Well, Shake Buddy. Well, yes, yes. Shake. Okay, good example. Shake
techno,
Buddy is a good
bana.
example. No, no, I wouldn't put Kana in that. So what dance came with? I didn't remember what
No, no,
dance
I'm
came
saying
with
like it's
Kana.
just poppy. Like I'm not saying like dance. Like you're saying the lyrics are simplistic.
There, no, there,
Like
and it's not just about the complexity of the lyric. It's also
mhm,
about there's some melodies that are maybe the lyrics are not complex, but the melodies are that okay. God came and inspired this one to make this melody. It's such a sweet melody to my ears. That's part of what Essence is. That's part of what a lot of these top 10 songs are. Even Love and Wantiti, the melody. I mean, when you heard that record, I still remember the things that made it blow. Remember, I think it was an award show, and they played it in the background, and people were just wondering, like, what's that melody? So I think that's part of what I'm not necessarily saying a song to be good, it needs to have this like lyrical. I'm still talking about the quality of the song, the quality of the songwriting. When it comes to songwriting, it's not just about the lyrics; it's about how you also write the melodies,
mhm,
how you put them together, how you add like the bridge, and you how you perform the hook, how you perform the whole song. So
mhm.
don't get me wrong. I don't necessarily mean it has to have a lyrics. I'm just saying Azonto it was more about the dance itself. It was not there were in fact there were other songs that they used to call Azonto because we knew
Yeah,
that
but it
when
was
the song came on, it was just to do the Azonto dance. You know
yes,
what I'm saying?
but that's what I'm saying. Like it was the forerunner for an entire subgenre, which is why it's basically
Okay. Okay, I
like
see what you're saying. So you're just saying like the impact it had,
yes, like
it almost became a model for so many other songs.
right, and not just the model. It's kind of
Mhm.
like how any cola drink is Coke. That lets you know
Yeah,
that Coke like is the top of that, like whatever
yeah,
you're doing there, or how any
yeah,
toothpaste in Nigeria was close up.
yeah. But it's still a subgenre. It's not.
Yes, but then
It's still a
again,
subgenre. It's
it's
still
still
a
it's a
it's like a
subgenre.
sub genre.
But again, if
That-
you're talking about and it's like an entire subgenre, and
Mhm.
again because it's American specific,
Yeah,
Azonto probably wouldn't get like if it was a British list. I think this would be in the top three. Well, it might not be Azonto. It might
Azonto.
be yeah. I don't. It might not be Azonto. It might be Antana.
Might
But
be Joanna.
yeah. So I feel like Fuse ODG for what his music did outside, specifically outside of the borders of like West Africa. I feel like they did him a disservice because and so there's also the part about him being shadow banned a bit because
Oh, he
he's
was.
I guess he was on a program with someone very prominent politician in the UK,
Yeah.
and he's a big so Fuse ODG is a big Pan Africanist, and he
Okay.
called the guy out on something, and all of a sudden we're no longer
Oh,
hearing
I
his
think I
stuff.
remember. Oh,
Yeah,
so
so
really, he's been
yeah,
shadow banned
so
ever since. Poor
yeah,
guy. I think I
yeah, so
remember
like
that. I remember that being a
yeah,
thing.
so there's also that aspect to it. So
Yeah.
again,
So
his
so so full disclosure, when I'm coming up with my own list, the quality of the record, quality of the melodies, quality of the song itself, like actual song structure, people that do those things, because there's a formula to these things.
yeah, absolutely.
For me, that criteria is a little higher than say the impact it had for me. because at the end of the day, it has to come down to the song itself. And when I'm thinking of the greatest songs, I think of if something were to happen and the world were to be wiped out, and they said, okay, you only had 10 songs to pick from as a genre to preserve. That's what I'm thinking about. So I think more about quality and more
So
about
so
like
so two.
quality of this of the sound. Um, and for me, the Drogbas, and I get it, they deserve to be on the list. Maybe not necessarily top 10. They deserve to be on the list for sure. I just don't rank them as high because I'm not, and maybe I'm biased. I'm just not as huge on the gimmicky songs. Because for me, the gimmicky songs are more of like right now, right now. And then what happens with those gimmicky songs is that people actually get sick of them and they start to hate them. So to me, that tells me that maybe this song doesn't have the lasting power we thought it did. And for me, it kind of brings down the rating of that song. But that's just me. I'm not necessarily crazy about the, oh, let's come up with a dance and then put a song to it. You know what
All
I'm
right.
saying? Because that's what a lot of these songs started out as.
All right. So two things. Remember, the list isn't greatest Afrobeat song, best.
Mhm.
And the people
The
giving you the
best.
list gave you the criteria. So,
Yes, true.
so if we're judging this list and they've given you the criteria they're using,
Yeah.
it's you can't necessarily go and like, well, this is the criteria I'm using, and say, well, this is what constitutes greatest.
No.
Like,
So no. So they gave us the criteria. They never told
mhm,
us the weight of that criteria. And I'm telling you, I agree with the same criteria. There's just I just give one of those criterias more weight than the other.
uh-huh.
That's what I'm saying.
And
But
it's also
we
a
don't
panel
know
of
how much
five.
weight.
Yeah, it was also a panel of five.
And it's also a panel of five, so they also
Yeah,
have to agree on it too. So
yeah.
yes.
Mhm.
But that's just me. For me, the dance records that they do dances, even if they're dance records, there's some dance records that could still be great. Like there's some EDM records that you hear, like these dun dun, like these, and there's some of them that you sit down and you listen to the actual record and you listen to what they're singing, and you're like, man, this song is actually amazing. Like, forget the the club vibe of the song. The person that wrote this song was actually doing something really special here. So for me, that the quality of that record, for me, it just it has a higher skew. Let me just put it that way.
All right. So let
Quality.
me. So there's some songs that I want to make sure get their due.
Hmm.
That I was actually surprised at how high they were because I didn't think Billboard would recognize them. So the first one is Style Plus Ulufumi,
Hmm.
and that's actually the oldest song on this list.
Yeah.
Came out in 2003.
Yeah. And that's how I knew it had to be Nigerians that did this because I'm like, there's no way they had to have gotten Nigerians to do this. That's why
Mhm.
at least I appreciate that because Style Plus again, that's another classic, great song. But now, are you saying that you're surprised they were this high?
So when I say surprised, I don't mean I object. I'm just
Okay, you're just saying
yeah,
that the fact that they were able to recognize this. Yeah, I
yeah.
think it's just they probably got some right people, right minds in there, people that maybe had grown up within the culture. It would make sense. And yes, Star Plus, you know, it wouldn't be my top 10, but it'll be between 10 and 20. So
Okay.
I don't have any qualms with where it's at, but I
All right.
don't
So
think it'll make my top 10.
all right. So you know what? So now I'm going to go through those 11 to 20, the ones that stuck out to me there. So I already
Hmm.
went through Fuse ODG at 18. So Style Plus Olufumi was 11. Number 12, Nice Gongwaso.
Yeah, that's a good
Um,
one.
yeah, and then this
So
is the
there were a lot of people that felt like Gongwasho
it
should have been
should
in the
could have
top
been
10.
10, top 10, you see. And so this one,
Mhm.
I don't want to go as far as saying I don't believe it should be in the top 15 or top 20 or wherever it is. I'm just
Mhm.
surprised it got put this high, and that is Yemi Alade's
Which one?
Johnny. Johnny.
Oh, okay. That was actually a good record. That was actually a good
No,
record. And
no,
yes, it's also a catchy song. But you see, that's an example of a song that's catchy, but it's also a really, really good record. Like
yeah.
Johnny give me the this. And I know, like, I even singing it now, like, I remember where I was at. That's a great record. Ooh, that's
Yeah,
a
so
see.
that was number 15.
I didn't even catch that one. That one,
Yeah.
hmm, that you could make an argument for top 10. You could.
See, so
I think you
it's
definitely could. I'm looking
so
for my Johnny.
yeah. So now I want to go through a couple. Okay, so now this is the one that I'm trying to decide. I'll go through the artists who only had like one song, and it feels like, are we really saying that out of the top 50, these particular artists only had one song that made it? So we'll
Yeah,
end on that one. But so these are the ones I really wanted to go through, and it's stuff like, so Maven's Dorobuchi was number 32. And I remember when this song came out, everything was Doro this, Doro that.
yeah.
It kind of got annoying at some point. But the fact that it's at number 32 and Runtown's Mad Over You is at number 33,
Mm,
it's there there's an entire year that
mhm.
was like the year of Runtown with just this song alone. Like
Yeah,
we basically had
I
like
would.
IJGB anthems because of
Yeah,
Runtown's Mad Over You.
yeah. So Mad Over You, Dorobuchi, I would rate those higher. I wouldn't put them in 30s. I wouldn't put them in 30s. I think they should make top 25 at least, for
My thing
sure.
is, I feel like Madowe should even be higher than Durabuchi, even if they're in the same 32 and you flip flop them.
Oh,
I just feel like,
yeah,
well, yes, I think like when you're making this list, I feel like you get to Madowe you even before you get to some of the classics that we've
yeah,
discussed, because
yeah,
like when you can like it, and it represents like everyone going back home for Christmas, the entire thing.
yeah.
But it's not like Christmas here where it's snowy, like where it's a festive period, and it was the
Mhm.
song of it, and it's not like the song is dated. Like, oh well, we can't
No,
go
it's
back to this.
not.
It's
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 not.
still
It's not.
it
I still
still
listen to Mad Over
goes.
You. I still
Yes,
listen to Mad Over You. Mad Over You changed, and I like people credit Runtown a lot because he changed the sound of Afrobeat. There was a time when things were sounding very, very the same, monotonous. Or I used to the bands, Don Jazzy production type song, where they come in, oh shit, this one. And Mad Over You, it changed the way it, it really gave a model for how they did records. Mad Over You ushered in a lot of, it even changed the way people like Davido said, and you could tell they were getting influence from Runtown. That's why Runtown is one of the most respected artists still today. Because the
so
influence that song
I want to
had,
make sure
that
that we
Ghana
we
girl
mention,
say, she was telling me, yo, more
but
that song went,
so
and it's still good till
if
today.
if we're going to
Till
give
today.
if we're going to give him that credit, we need to make sure that
Yeah.
we're giving Mr. Easy first of all, because
Yes.
Mr. Easy
Yes.
took the
Yes.
slings.
Yes. 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 Yes.
Like,
Yes. Yes.
so
Yes.
let's make sure. And Mr.
Yes. No,
Easy
yeah, for
Skin
sure.
Tight
For sure. For sure.
was number
It
26 on
was
the list.
it was
So
that whole taking the I think that was the time when Nigerians used to borrow from Ghana a lot. There was that whole period of
are we
everybody,
calling it borrow now?
everything
Are
they
we
were
calling
doing
it borrow?
before they could get clout on it, we would just quickly take it. And the sound, we did the same thing with the sound, even though it's not really fair to say that about Mr. Easy, because technically he was a Ghana boy. He lived in Ghana. He grew up in
Yeah,
Ghana too.
he grew up. Yeah.
Um, but one time you could like Man Over You, there were a lot of those elements, the production, they had taken some elements from it was like the R2Bs, like that sound, like there was thing, and it was always. But Mad Over You was the first time that it was like, okay, this is our Niger boy. This is he did this sound and he did it so well, and you could even tell he was paying homage in the song. It was the very first line of the song is Ghana girl say, so you could tell it was borrowed, but he did it in such a great way and the song, you see, that's why you could like you can put Mad Over You on your playlist today. If you're having a nice party, right? Like it's just a chill party. Mad Over You always makes mine. Like whenever I want to have like the throwback section, Mad Over You all the time. And people love the record till today. It's such a beautiful record. That's another example of a record that I just the quality is so high that it doesn't even matter. Um, but yeah, I like the yeah. I would rank them higher. Now between Durubuchi and Mad Over You, I would also rank Mad Over You higher than Durubuchi. Personally, I would.
All
Um,
right.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. So let me rush through some. So I think the most interesting section, and by interesting, it's the one that you're like, huh, I didn't think this would make the list, or versus I can't believe it's this low, and that's the 41 to 50. So I'll go from
Okay.
50 to 41. So 50, Weird MC, Ijoya, 49, Nonso Amadi Tonight, 48,
Mm-hmm.
Timaya, Mama, 47, Jazzman Olofin featuring Adewale Ayuba, Raise the Roof, 46, Victony
Yeah.
and Tempoe, Soweto,
So it's a
uh,
yeah.
45, Olu Maintain, Yahooze.
Yahooze should have been ranked higher.
Yeah, like
He
that
should have been
again.
ranked higher.
Number 44, Ice Prince featuring Brymo,
But
oleku.
can I just talk about Yahooze for a
Yeah,
second?
yeah,
The
sure,
reason
sure,
why
sure.
Yahooze should have been ranked higher was that, in addition to it being a really, really good quality song, it again, it I feel like songs for me they're like time capsules. It captured a time when Yahoo was starting to blow up in the United States. You'd have people moving here. I'm not doing this as an endorsement of it. This was just the reality. And
Hmm.
music captures the times that we're in.
Right.
But it was also one of the first times that I remember an artist outside of like the big artists was able to start selling shows in the US. I remember Olu came. He came to the US and he had concerts back then. And Yahooze was what like that whole summer, it just took over. And the reason why I think it's such an important song, and again, quality song, but the impact was that it was one of the songs that we used to start building the diaspora network for Afrobeats. There's a whole machine behind Afrobeats. People need to understand. Promoters, they're a big part of it. DJs, they've been a big part of where Afrobeat is today. And a big part of the reason why these records kept getting bigger is because you'd have Nigerian DJs in the US playing their records. So Yahooze was like, forget just playing the song. We need to have this guy here. And I remember Olu Maintain doing like a mini tour of like the main diasporas in the US back then. He went to Houston, he went to Baltimore. So for us, it was like a big part of building this thing that we look at that we call Afrobeats now. These were
Uh-huh.
some of the foundations. Yahooze was a big part of that foundation. Not only that, Yahoo Money is part of what has funded a lot of Afrobeat,
Hey, the same
probably
way Drug
including
Money funded a
yes.
lot of record labels here in America as well. Yeah.
Yeah, so in
Mhm.
a way, it was like they were paying homage. These artists were paying homage to
To their
their
sponsors.
helpers, to their sponsors. That's why it was a huge record. It wasn't. There was more like the people that were buying bottles at the clubs that were doing all these things. Most of them in Nigeria. They were none of them were Yahoo boys. You know what I'm saying? So it was the first time that okay, we just gonna just come out and say it and be like, Yahoo's it. Like, okay, what are you gonna do about it? So yeah, it deserves to be higher. I'm not gonna argue what number, but it definitely not in the 40s. It deserves to be way lower than where it's at today. That's my take on Yowza.
All right. So that's number 45. So 44
Yeah.
was Ice Prince featuring Brymo, oleku.
That was another
43,
record.
Kizz Daniel featuring Tekno, buga.
That's big record.
Yeah. 42,
Big record.
Libyanka,
Big
People.
record.
And number
That was a nice
41,
record.
this is where I want to uh, sort of link to one of the last conversations that I'm trying to get to, and it's Asake, Peace Be Unto
Yeah.
You.
Yeah.
So that's his only entry on this list.
Yeah.
First of all, is
Surprising.
it fair? Only one from Asake on this list, and two,
Yeah.
is it supposed to be Peace Be Unto You, or should it be represented by a different song?
Peace be unto you was. Can you remember how the
Peace be unto you is they
Asala
carry,
I like who
yeah, like
that
that's
was
the one
it.
they carry me. They go, I know where they go. I don't know, or something like that. Help me, help
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
Help me, yeah, 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 yeah. Ah, I'm not mad at it. Keep in mind, Ashake only came on the scene a couple years ago. There are people that have been grinding longer than Ashake, so I get why. I'm not mad at him having just one entry. And now, now, where that entry is
Uh-huh.
and what that entry is, I have a problem with. I think Lonely at the Top should have made the list. I think
So you think that should
that's
have
his.
been his song rather
That's
than?
by far his greatest records. By far one of the greater records to hit the industry in the last couple of years. And I think obviously I'm also I'm also biased to Ashake. I think he should have been higher. Obviously, I think he should be higher than the 40s. But Peace Be Unto You was a good record. I remember that was the one that had that video model in it.
No, that's Terminator.
Oh no. Okay, that was oh yeah, you're right. You're right. That was
Uh-huh.
Terminator. That was Terminator. Okay, so that's what I'm. That's the one that. Okay, okay, okay. So
That's
how does Peace Be Unto You go again?
that's the one you
I'm
said
still
now.
trying to
Asama, I like.
like.
Yeah.
But I could have sworn that was the same video.
No, so Peace Be Unto You is the one that they're like standing on top of boats and stuff. He's driving a three-wheeler.
I remember. Okay, you're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. Yeah. That was a good record too, though. That was a good record.
But
That was
so
good, but
if
it
that
wasn't. It's
one,
not his best record.
so it's
It's
that
not.
over Lonely at the Top, over Organize, over
Yeah.
Tomato, over Joha, over
So I
Sumba
would even.
Remix, even over
I would.
Omokwe.
Yeah, I would even if they had put Terminator, I would have even forgiven them. But yeah, not Peace Be Unto You. But Peace Be Unto You was like that was when he was on that run between Terminator and he was just dropping those bangers back to back.
Yeah,
So, and
I'm just surprised it was
I
that
remember
one.
yeah, I remember Peace Be Unto You more so for I think the video. You're
The
right. He
video.
was that was the one
Yeah.
that he was on the boats. Yes. That was
Uh-huh.
the one that he was on the boats. And it was the same one that he was in like a library too, right? Was that the one that he was in the library? That was another iconic video.
Yeah,
That he
so
was
he
in the
had,
library and
yeah.
there were like a bunch of hymns or there were like a bunch of people that were dancing. Yeah. So I'm surprised about that. But I'm not mad at it. I mean, the fact that he had only one, I'm not mad at it. Because you also have to keep in mind that there's so many people that came before Asake. And Asake
Yeah.
is still relatively new.
No,
So
so I get why you're saying that, but remember, there are a bunch of songs that on this list from 2022 and 2023, which is in the middle of his run.
yes, that's true. They were probably trying to make it equitable, and they were trying to share the love. It's not an easy job, man. When you put out a list like this,
No, it's
it's
not. It's
open to
not.
scrutiny, like, and it's very easy because you see some songs above others, and it automatically makes you question the whole thing. Um, I think just be happy that you're on the list. If you're an artist, if you're an Afrobeat artist, just be happy that you made the list. I think that in itself is a statement. Um, there are even some other songs that I would even put on this list that didn't even make the list. But you know, it's not easy. It's not easy putting these things together. You're trying to please everyone. You're also taking into account your own personal tastes. Um, yeah, unavailable made the list. I see
Yeah,
that
yeah,
number
unavailable.
40.
Yeah. So let me run through the other artists that only had one entry. So Ira Star had only one with Rush at 31.
Yeah, I can
Uh,
see that.
Olamide only had one entry at 23. A Bubba.
Ooh, now, I don't know
Well,
about
he was
Lamid
featured on
entry number
another
one.
song. He was featured on number 20, if he knows Fada Fada, but his song
Okay.
only, yeah.
Oh yeah, Shakiti Bobo.
Uh-huh.
That was a good record. That was a
Yeah,
huge record
okay, but
too.
then remember that's a song. That's a song that came with a dance. Like
Yeah,
it's
but
synonymous with the dance.
it was not only was it catchy, and yes, it came with a dance, but it was a well written record.
Yeah,
He had a
I'm
well
just saying
on it
don't
too.
eliminate it because it has a dance with it. Because I remember when you and I were doing a list previously, and
Yeah.
you penalized unavailable because it had a dance.
You already know how much I hate these dance. I hate these
Yes.
dance gimmicks. But you're
Hmm.
right. Maybe part of it is my bias too.
Yeah.
But yeah, but Shakiti Baba was that was a good record. That was a good
Yeah.
record.
And
Killing
so
Them, I see, is also on the list. I would have put
yeah,
that higher too.
but then so now is thank you for bringing that one up. So I think those are we mentioned the artists that I wanted to mention that only had one song. Yeah.
Mhm.
So Ira, Olamide, and who was and Asake. So those ones only
Yeah,
had one song. So Killing Them, they had Killing Them at 30. They had Last
yeah.
Last at 22, and they had Ye at 9. Would you do you think
Change anything?
yeah, would you change anything out of those three?
Yay, definitely top 10.
Okay.
Definitely top 10. Definitely top 10. I felt like Yay was like was almost like you're watching the rebirth of Fela. And plus the song was inspired by by a Fela record too. So and when I say that, I don't mean that literally. I know some people are gonna be thinking, how dare you compare Burna to Fela? No, I don't mean that. I'm just saying what that record did was it just there were people that were listening to that record and they didn't even realize that what made them like that record was because Fela had sang those rhythms before. You know what I'm saying? Like that
Mm-hmm.
was those that a lot of those. I don't want that. I don't want this came from our childhood. I think people even forget
Mm-hmm.
that was fella. So I felt like the impact of Yay. It wasn't just the impact. It wasn't just how good the record was, but it was also kind of what it represented. It tied it back to the originator of Afrobeat, fella.
Can we talk about how it was sort of it blew up by almost by accident because they were searching for
I
something
remember.
else. Yeah.
Yeah, they were
So
searching for Ye. Had Kanye
he
just
had just
changed his
he
name
had
at the
just
time?
changed. He had just
Yeah, he had
changed.
changed to Ye, and that's how it blew up. That's how it blew up.
Um, you're not going to
And
classify that as a gimmick in a way.
no,
Like you,
it's not a gimmick. It people no, it's actually the opposite. People like imagine people looking for one of the greatest artists, right? And they run into a song and they realize, oh, yeah, this song is actually really good. That tells you it was the music. The normal person would be like, oh, move it aside. No, the song went up the charts because people listened to it,
so
and as opposed to switching to the next song, they were like, no, this record is good. That's a testament to how quality the record is. That's not a gimmick. That's just quality.
all right,
And yes, that's luck. That's luck too, but it's definitely not a gimmick.
all right. So let me.
Powerful record.
I'm only asking this half tongue in cheek, but you'll see
Mhm.
where I'm going with this. Is that different from what Dammy Crane is doing, where any record that's coming out, he'll release something with the same exact
I,
name?
I've seen it. I've seen him do it. Done it for all of them. He did it for the
Yeah,
Davido album, the
yeah,
Burner album. I
songs,
wonder
everything.
if so. I heard like I know he's had a lot of static, a lot of tension with a lot of the other artists recently, and I wonder if this is him like just trying to be a troll and just. I wonder if there's something else going on there because I remember he had like a bunch of blow ups where he was going back and forth with some artists, and I wonder if this is just him trying to just maybe they did something to him and this is like his way of just trying to take advantage of who knows but
Yeah, I mean, the
yeah
music
it's
business is
very odd.
very yeah. So
It's very
I
odd
mean, I
that you
don't
would
take
do
these things
that.
in high.
Like, don't you have pride when Bernard did his own, he didn't do it because of Kanye. He wasn't trying to vulture off of Kanye. It just that was what he named the song. I don't even think
It,
Kanye had even changed his name when he named the song that because the song had been out for some time, right? But
yeah,
this
I
one,
mean,
you're purposefully trying to vulture of another artist's hard work. Like, I don't, maybe there was issues, but come on, as an artist, this should tug at your pride. It's like, what are you
Mm,
doing, man? It's crazy to me, but it
okay.
is what it is.
So, is there any song that didn't make the list that you wanted to talk about, or like that you feel
Um,
if you were making a list, it would have made it
Afrobeat
ahead of them?
records. I would have had again. I like to when I'm thinking of these things. I'm thinking of okay, what are the foundations? What are the records that kind of changed the way others started doing things? And I would have had at least one of the. Do you remember these guys? Tony Tetula, that the crew. Do you remember the name?
2022's crew.
Yeah, I forget
Uh,
the name now,
yeah,
but they're one of the
I'm drawing
people
a
that
blank.
did it for
Yeah.
me. They're the ones that
So,
sang Shagama Ferawa. And they're also the ones that did Miosha Komo. Remedies.
okay.
Remedies.
Remedies. Yes, 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 yes.
It would have been good to
Yeah,
have a record
with
and
with
not
Idris and Eddie
necessarily
Montana.
yes. And not necessarily because the records maybe not have been as huge as today, but is it's just one of those ingredients that got thrown into the Afrobeat zeitgeist or whatever you want to call it. And their records was that. It was it was the first time we took that I heard they took an American or like a R&B inspired song and put Nigerian lyrics on it. It was the first time that I'd seen it. And I would
Mm.
challenge you to tell me when had they done that prior to that?
And what song was it taken from?
Yosha
Yeah, no, I'm
Komo.
saying which song was it? Which American
So
song?
Michael Jackson, Liberian
Liberian Girl. Yeah.
girl. You stand in it. Well, they took
Okay.
the beat
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
they turned it to Miosha Komo. And till today, that has been it's still a format that we use.
Oh,
Davido
absolutely.
used it in four, like we still use it till today. We try to take little things that remind us of the pop music that we grew up with, and we try to mash it a little bit with our own authentic local music and local sayings. It was the first time that
Yeah. So
I recall. If it
there was
happened
an
before
era
that,
of
maybe I don't know.
there was an
But it
era
was
of Afrobeat music that was the main ingredient.
yeah, yeah. It
Yeah.
was they were the first ones
Yeah.
that started that I know of that started that
Yeah.
format.
Those unauthorized samples, basically.
Miosha, unauthorized samples, Miosha,
Hmm.
Mosha. So I would have had that on there because I just felt like it was they did it and a lot of other artists started doing the same thing and we've been doing it ever since. And it was a really great record. It was a really great record. They killed it on that record. Um and there was a whole thing that came outside of their group too, where Tony Tatula got mad for being the dancing guy, and he started his own career, and he dropped "You Don't Hit My Car," you know, and that spurred other types of records and songs. So yeah, I would have had them on there for sure. I would have
Uh,
had them on there for sure. So that's a record I would have had on there. Another
okay.
record that I probably would have had on there is, and when I say on there, I don't mean top 10, I just mean at least on the
Uh,
list.
on the list.
I would have had Love Me Jeje, the original, not Thames version.
Oh, okay.
The
Okay.
original.
Okay.
Yeah, it was the first time that I saw Nigerians shoot a music video in, and I didn't know if it was the US, but all I know is that there were Oyibo people in it. And you know how it is now, but back then, like,
Back
oh
then.
shoot,
Mhm.
he shot a video out in the States, like,
Mhm.
okay. And it was I love the record. I prefer it to the Thames version too. I really I loved that record. So that was another, and so that one is more of like this nostalgic thing for me. Maybe others may not have it, but I would have had it on the list for sure.
And you're talking about the
Mhm.
Shea Shodumu original.
Yes, Love Me
Okay.
Jeje, Love Me Tender. It was the first time that I'd also seen like a man and a woman go back and forth on a record. It was like within the Afrobeats
Okay.
space.
Okay.
But I think what really stuck out to me most was the fact that they had shot it in the US. I remember it was back when they used to have there was this music program that Kenny and D1 used to have, and they used to show music videos. And you'd see all these different music videos of like Niger guys, like the plantation boys in their teams, but they're all in the dust, or they're on like on basketball on some concrete, just trying to dance with their, you know,
With
and
advisors,
obviously,
yeah.
yeah, and their oversized, football jerseys, sweating, but you could tell we're in Nigeria because it was dusty, and you could always tell, with the production back then, you could just tell, we're all in this Nigeria together. But then look, they played Love Me Jeje, and we're like, okay, this is clean. These people are clearly enjoying their lives. They look like they were having a blast. They were like this young guy in the US talking about you're my sugar, my love, my tender lover. They were going back and forth. Yeah, so I would have had it. I would have had it on there. But that's just a personal favorite of mine.
Okay. All right. All
Yeah,
right. It
man.
looks like the sun is setting over there, so we'll
Yeah,
let you go on
man.
this. I appreciate you joining us from parts
No,
unknown.
anytime.
Yeah, and
Anytime.
all right, and
Anytime.
thanks to everyone listening. Please don't forget rate, review, subscribe. We're going to have the
Please
entire
do.
list in the description, so you can. Matter of fact, leave a comment. What was your greatest snub? Who should have been on the list and wasn't? Who you thought was too high on the list? Who you thought was too low? And just your overall comments on the list. Thank you very much, everyone, and we'll try and do this again soon.
Thank you.